Savion Collins, Miami Palmetto defensive tackle, has decommitted.
Yes. Yes. Yes, he has. The biggest story behind that, Mark, is the fact that Savion Collins plays both ways in high school. Okay, and it is regarded that he is a better guard than he is defensive lineman. But he wants to play defensive line at the next level. And I think that after reevaluating this is from my opinion, based on him decommitting this close to signing day, which he is an early signee, so this close, that means there must have been a conversation that had with the Miami Hurricane staff, and maybe upon reevaluation, I believe he may have been dropped. Or they may have just let him know, if you do come here, you will have to play offensive line. He doesn't want to play offensive line, so he decides he wants to take his talents elsewhere. This is just my belief based on kind of reading the room, reading the situation. That's the conclusion that I have come to. University of Miami has now made a comment on it, and neither has Savion Collins. So for all I know, I could be flat out wrong, and he just told us, I hate you. Or, Miami could have just cut him. I don't know. I don't know for a fact. But based on what I've seen and the facts that I was presented, my opinion is that they decided to mutually part ways because he wants to play defensive line, and they don't think that, he's a Miami Hurricanes defensive line. Very pleased with the defensive tackle progression. John Ford has woken up a little bit. Harrison Hunt has started to make some plays and started some games, a redshirt freshman. Nestor Silvera, I genuinely think he's like a top 10 defensive tackle in the country right now. I mean, he shows up every single week. He's not like jumping off the screen, bamming the wall down because he's an All-American. But, I mean, you turn on the film, and every game, even in Clemson, he was one of the bright spots where he made plays and he handled his guard and made some plays with effort down the football field. 100% progressed.
The end.
So you said progressed, regressed, and what's the middle one?
Well, basically, just progressed or regressed, whether they improved or have regressed.
Defensive end, I'll say progressed, only because I don't want to be Mr. Negative Nancy, but I've been very, very disappointed in Quincy Roche's sack pressures. I'm not liking it. It's dropped off big time. And I wasn't expecting him to have 16 again. But, 8 weeks in, I was thinking he would average maybe a sack or at least half a sack a game. And 2.5 sacks is not cutting it. I mean, that's just not good enough at this level at all. But Quincy Roche, Jalen Phillips, doing really well. So he's the reason why I would say progressed for the group. But out of the two, very disappointed in Quincy Roche's production.
And we'll interrupt our great evaluation of the Miami defense with this question coming in from David Knight. Wholesome one, is the Miami defense aggressive enough for you, not aggressive enough, or about where they should be? Thoughts?
Man. Hey, listen, David, I really appreciate that question.
That's our guy, David.
That's a great question. I do believe that this defense is growing before our eyes. And when you talk about aggression, it's tough as a defensive coordinator calling plays because then you kind of borderline on am I too blitz happy, or can I just let my front go? And am I subject to big plays because I'm overly aggressive? So there's a really tough balanced act that you have to have as a defensive coordinator. Okay, do I want to attack and make sure that you can't get behind me via the pass? Or do I want to give up a couple yards in the run game because we're so focused on your dynamic passing attack? Or do we focus all in and we load the box and then you're attacking me and now you're getting 30, 40 yards a pop? That's kind of the big difference between Coach Manny Diaz and Coach Blake Baker. Is Coach Manny Diaz was ultra aggressive, but we were subjected to huge 50-plus yard plays because if it didn't hit home, a big play would come out of it. Now you also had last year and this year where it's been kind of a mix, like right in the middle as a balanced defense where you're not going to beat us too much with the pass. You're not going to beat us too much with the run. We're not going to be overly aggressive, but we'll do just enough. It's a bend and break defense, not bend, don't break, bend and break defense. And I'm not a big fan of how it can come out. Sometimes I think teams have really worked on it against us in this 4-2-5, but I think it can get more aggressive. I'm hoping that it does over time. But the fourth quarter defense is, whew, man, it comes out of nowhere. It's really mind-boggling, Mark, how they just flip a switch. I mean, think about that NC State game. It was back and forth and back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. And then Miami just said, nope, nope. The fourth quarter came and they just shut it all down. It was crazy. You even look at Biotech. They had plenty of chances. We gave them the ball 3 times, Mark, with 8 minutes left. They had 3 whole drives, and all they needed was 1 point, and they couldn't get a point. They couldn't even get in field goal range. So that's the thing. It's like this defense and Coach Blake Baker can flip the switch when they want to. We just hope that they play a little bit more consistency and play a little longer that version of the defense. But it's aggressive enough, and I understand that the horses are on their way. A lot of our big-time recruits are on the defensive side of the ball coming in. So I think that it's coming. The help that we need to take it to the next level, it's on its way. And one of the other ones that's already on our roster, which we're so happy it wasn't a career-ending injury, is already practicing with the team. Don't know if you know that, Mark, but Avante Williams, the player who was, everybody was so terrified, he's practicing now. Okay, so we figured it out. Whatever it is, they're keeping it in-house. They've worked hard enough to get him healthy enough to be able to practice. So blessings and happiness for that.